What's good, y'all? COG Bronc Nuts, 719 West. I'm gonna give a few seconds for some people to join the stream. Want to talk about Chad Kelly tonight. Where in the world is Chad Kelly, and how he's not got a football uniform on somewhere? What's up, David? So tonight's stream, I was just talking to a friend of mine today, and wondering what was up with Chad Kelly, and he's not in jail. He actually was in Denver just the other day, and he pled not guilty to I can't remember if it's like a second degree or third degree felony of burglary, breaking into that house. But my question is that if you look at all of the things that the NFL is willing to tolerate, like Plaxico Burress shooting a gun off, and Aqib Talib shooting himself inside of a club, and Kareem Hunt kicking girls, and the multitude of other things that have happened and allegations that have happened with all kinds of football players, yet Chad Kelly is not in the Canadian League, he's not in the AAF, none of that stuff. Now, I'm over the fact that Chad Kelly's not in Denver anymore. I realized he was here, he had his shot, he screwed up, and he's never coming back. And I'm okay with it because we gave the kid a chance, and, it's too bad that he couldn't have just abstained from going to Von Miller's Halloween party. But that, because he was literally a couple of weeks from probably being on the field and maybe being the starter in Denver. But I don't understand why Alliance American football team will not put Chad Kelly on a roster, because other people have to see what we saw here in Denver, which it was hard not to lust over a young, promising guy who was making plays happen when he came into the game, and now he's not on a team anywhere, and I don't really know what's going down. So my suspicion is think about it. The cops said that they didn't suspect that alcohol was involved, so now we're down to drugs, because no sane person is just going to take off running through the neighborhood that he was in and just walk into a house that you don't know that you're supposed to be in. So he must have been on some sort of drugs, or somebody drugged him, which, if that's the case, then it's down to he either has a drug problem or somebody drugged him if no alcohol was involved. Now, let's say he has a drug problem. How can that be? Because all we ever heard about was the coaching staff saying, Chad Kelly's working hard. He's in here first thing in the morning. He's one of the last ones to leave. He's learning the playbook. He's doing all the extra little things that are important to a football team winning. He's getting high praises from the coaching staff. So how does a person who's putting forth that much time at work, and they've got to sleep at least 8 hours a day, how does that person have enough time to have that bad of a drug problem where a team could literally the next morning, without any facts, without any jury trial, without any due processes of the law, just says we're going to cut him? So my suspicion is something way bigger happened at that party. His teammates didn't run off after him. Nobody really was trying to save Chad Kelly. They didn't care if he got in any trouble. And then the next morning he's cut. So what happened? Because nothing's really come out of what's really gone on here. And I just think he's too good of a football talent to not be playing for somebody. Yeah, he's in trouble. Yeah, he doesn't play here. Good, I'm glad that he's gone. But I can't imagine that the American Alliance League is not calling Chad Kelly up and say, hey, you want to try to revive your career and play quarterback here. They've given Johnny Manziel, who had a drug problem, another chance and put him in a couple of different uniforms, getting paychecks playing football. And Chad Kelly is not getting this opportunity. So the reason he's not on the field is definitely not because of his athletic ability. What's up, Seth? What's up, everybody in the stream? I just want to talk about, the situation with him. If anybody had any extra news on Chad Kelly and what is the reason why nobody's giving him any opportunity to play anywhere. And then also wanted to talk about some of the moves that have happened in the NFL. I agree with you, Dave. Chad is a better quarterback than Case Keenum. And it sure would have been nice to see what he could do. And that's why I kind of want him to get in that AAF football league, because honestly, I would never miss a game to whatever team he went to. Not because I'm a Chad Kelly fan, just because I seen him do some really nice things on the field. And I want to see if were you fooling us? Was this a lie, Chad? Can you do that again? And so that's what I really wanted to see. And I hope that he does get an opportunity somewhere down the road. And man, who knows what really happened. I want to talk about this situation of Antonio Brown going to the Raiders. I think the Raiders got a hell of a deal. I really do. I think they absolutely swindled Pittsburgh in this deal. I mean, basically just giving up a third for probably the best wide receiver in the game. If he's not, he's number 2. In my eyes, he's number 1. And, I know they had to give up a fifth as well, but I mean, a fifth's like a cross and a T is all that is. Most fifth-round draft picks don't make your football team or don't stay on it for very long. But I think that they got a heck of a good player. And the only thing, as a Denver Broncos fan, I'm really not upset about it because one, at least we have Chris Harris to cover the guy. And I'll be the first to admit that nobody is going to cover AB, including Chris Harris. AB's going to get his plays. He's going to make his money. He's going to do his thing. But you all heard the same thing that I heard when he was on TV, said, no, we're going to do this my way or the highway. It sounded like he had a big entitlement attitude problem. And I know he's a good player. Everybody knows he's a good player. But to have that type of attitude, the Raiders is exactly the place that I want him to be. And the question is that how much trouble is AB going to get into when he finally gets to Las Vegas? And I think you could say that probably about the whole Raiders team, but him in specifically, I think somewhere down the line, we're going to hear of some sort of a problem. But good for the Raiders. Not on top of these draft picks that they have. Those are really important that they're going to have to choose right to get back into the hunt in the AFC West. But this was a good move. Gave Derek Carr some weapons, and I know Derek Carr and AB are friends or buddies or whatever, but I think that's a good move for the Raiders, and I think they stole him. Also want to talk tonight about Case Keenum heading to Washington, which I think is a good thing. Sadly, we didn't really get anything from him. I think we ended up with a 6th-round pick, and we swapped a 7th or gave him a 7th, something like that. Anyway, it's really irrelevant. The $7 million that we were going to have to pay him against our salary cap this year, we ended up with half of it, which I guess when you look at it, half is better than all of it. But it was time for him to get out because you don't want to have a quarterback on the sidelines who's average and Flacco, who I also think is average in the game, because as soon as he throws a couple of interceptions, people are going to start and get a quarterback controversy. So it was probably just better to get him out of here, out of town. Now, for as far as the Broncos' plans, I think the Broncos probably won't draft a quarterback in the first round, although I do see a scenario where the Broncos might be able to trade down and pick up a Locke or a Daniel Jones at the bottom of the first round, which I'd be okay with because I think both of them are going to be players in the NFL. But I think Elway's got something up his sleeve, and they're looking at a quarterback down the road, although I think we're going to end up drafting a quarterback in this draft because we only have 2 on the roster, and you're going to need 3 quarterbacks. And if our play is a quarterback next year or even in 2020, which makes sense because we signed Flacco to a 3-year contract, then it'd be nice to have another good quarterback. Quarterbacks that I like that might be available in that 4th, 5th round area. I really like, to tell you the truth, the kid at Boise State, Brett Ripien, I think he had a pretty good day at the Combine. I thought North Carolina State's quarterback did really well, but the guy I'm really excited about that I want Denver to keep on their radar as a mid-round pick is Syracuse's quarterback. Big kid, big body, big time arm, not playing in the most prolific conference against the best competition, but still playing upper tier Division I football. And this kid's tough. He's built to play the quarterback position. He's a leader. And that's one of the guys that I really like for us to try to draft in the mid rounds. Now, as far as our first round pick, you can choose it either way, right? I either like taking White as a linebacker and then signing a free agent corner, or what I really like better is signing CJ Mosley, trading down, and then maybe trying to pick up, a Greedy Williams somewhere in the middle of the first round. Hang on one second. I was looking over the free agent corners that are available right now, and there's nobody that I really like much more than Roby. Maybe Darby coming out of Philly. Buster Screen's pretty decent. there's a couple of different guys that we could sign as free agents to play in Roby's spot, because they're thinking about moving Langley, I guess, to wide receiver. Yidam, who knows what he's going to be from last year's draft. But what's up, King Stacy? What's up, everybody in the stream? Thanks for everybody showing up, man. I haven't done a stream or any Broncos talk for a while. I don't want you to think that, I'm not on top. I know Darian Stewart's been released. I mean, I know everything that's going on. Just had... just taking a break, but I'm kind of getting excited for the NFL draft. There's a lot of different options of ways things could go for the Broncos, and what I like is that some of the players that I think we might be targeting could slip to the bottom or the middle of the first round, so it may give Denver some leverage to do a few things, because I think we're going to sign a big free agent name here pretty soon, and I sure hope it's Mosley, because, man, if he's in the middle, it'll be the first time that we've really had a solid middle linebacker here since probably Al Wilson. So I'm looking for the Broncos to do that. I mean, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. You put him in the middle along with the good speed we got on our edges. And then hopefully we can sign a free agent corner or draft a corner that can play. The one thing that I like about Greedy Williams is he's big, he's fast, he's a freakish athlete, but he doesn't have the best ball skills. And that's a really, a glaring thing in the NFL, is being able to find and hunt the ball down that he can get away with in college on pure athletic ability. Like I said, I still think we're going to have to draft a quarterback, because we're going to need 3 of them on the roster. The backup quarterback for Denver is going to be, I forget his name, but the guy we got from Washington last year, who spent a little bit of time with the Chiefs and maybe one other team. But I think that the Broncos are still going to have to draft a quarterback. Hogan, yeah, there it is, Bondi. Thank you. I think that the Broncos are still going to have to draft a quarterback, and I'd like to take a chance on one of those smaller schools, and that's why I said I like Brett Rippon, and I like the kid, and I can't remember his name, from Syracuse. If you get a chance, go onto YouTube and watch the highlight reel from last year from this kid from Syracuse, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. He definitely looks like he can play in the NFL. I'm not really that upset that the Broncos moved on from Darian Stewart. I think Darian can play. I mean, I think he's going to find a home here in the NFL. But what you got to remember is that Sua Cravens was hurt all last year. He's the best safety on the roster. He's a playmaker, and he's got much better cover skills than Stewart does. So look for us to, probably solidify that safety position with Stewart. Really, we just need to find us a good lockdown young corner. And if we don't do it through free agency, and it's pretty hard to do, because corners, if you got a good one, people leave him, they sign him and keep him on the team. The other players that I like, I think everybody knows in Denver that, look, if we don't get some help along the front line on our offensive line, it's not going to matter if Superman's back there playing quarterback, because they're just going to have a little bit of time to throw the football. So I think we definitely have to get some linemen. I definitely like Dalton Reisner at K-State, Colorado kid, probably going to go at the bottom of the first, top of the second round. I think that'd be a good move for us, signing a hometown kid. The kid's big. He can definitely play. He wants to be here, loves the Broncos, loves John Elway. So I look for Reisner to be on Elway's radar come draft time. Other things that I see us doing in the draft, we've already decided, I guess, that we're going to come back with Emmanuel Sanders. They say he's healthy, or he's going to be healthy. And Chris Harris is running sprints, so his leg fracture is definitely is no big deal. And so they're going to definitely sign Sanders. And the thing is I'm not disappointed at that. I'm a little disappointed in the money that Sanders is going to make, and he's not willing to restructure his contract. Although, man, I don't blame him. He's earned every single penny and every single dollar that he's going to get. When you look back over the last few years, actually several years that he's been here, just making big play after big play after big play, our best offensive weapon. So I'm not upset that he's going to be in our locker room and providing some veteran leadership to those young guys that we got in there. Hopefully we see Sutton and Hamilton and what's his face, Tim Patrick, make a big step next year, because I know we've moved on from, I think we cut Jordan Taylor and maybe another wide receiver. And so, look for us to grab another one. Maybe, us will sign a veteran wide receiver, because we're going to need a little bit of leadership in our locker room for sure. But I'm excited for the season to get started here with the draft. And And I was just kind of wondering what you guys thought about the Chad Kelly situation and why he's not getting an opportunity with somebody. Now, and Malik Jackson's another one. And you know what? People want to criticize Elway for, when we were done, traded Malik Jackson. Jacksonville paid that guy $98 million, and now we might get him back here for Denver, and believe me, it ain't going to be for no $98 million. It's going to be for free practically, because he hasn't done anything since he left here, and people were criticizing Elway for letting him go and Danny Trevathan go off of our Super Bowl team, and I think that we could clearly see that the reason Malik Jackson had such success was because of the edge rush we were able to get with Ware and Miller. And they were double teaming on the outside, and so he was having a field day on the inside. And when they didn't have those outside pass rushers in Jacksonville, he didn't excel like he did here. So big ups to Elway and the Broncos front office for making those tough decisions when people were slinging mud at him, really. But I'd welcome Malik Jackson back here. I think he did well on the inside. We put him in there with Wolf. I think Pecco may be gone. And, we're probably going to have to look a little bit different along the defensive front seven than we did last year, and maybe overall defensively. But I think if we can sign a couple key pieces like a Mosley and a corner, or draft a good corner, or sign White and draft and sign a free agent corner. I think if we can add those two pieces, that will be a successful and well-played offseason for the Denver Broncos. And, look, the Antonio Brown signing, at least like I said, we've got a guy that can cover him, although I don't think anybody can cover him, but we got a guy that, is good as anybody. But I know one thing's for sure. There's nobody wearing the red and yellow in the whole state of Kansas on the Chiefs, in the whole Chiefs organization, that can cover Antonio Brown. So, look, that I see that as a good thing, because, the Raiders had a hard time scoring points last year, and I think that Antonio Brown's really going to help them. Now, one thing I can say about the Raiders and Chiefs, there's two players that are free agents on those teams respectively that I'm interested in the Broncos talking to. One is Jared Cook. So Jared Cook, their tight end, I think he's about 31, 32 years old. He's not a young guy, but had a best season last year, and maybe even the year before had a pretty good season. Good hands, big body, became the Raiders' number one weapon when they really didn't have any last year, and he excelled at the tight end position. I like him, and I also like the backup tight end. I think he's about 6'7", 6'8", 245 pounds. I can't remember his name, but he's the backup tight end for the Chiefs. And the reason that I like him is because, he doesn't get mentioned, doesn't get in the game a lot, and rightfully so because of Travis Kelce. But I think this kid can play, and he's young, and I think those are some players, at the tight end position we should give a look at in free agency, because we haven't had, a tight end here that's really done that well. Hireman's a free agent. Lacoste is a free agent. Jake Butt is hurt. We drafted that other kid from Wisconsin last year who got hurt and really hadn't turned out to be anything. So, we don't really have a tight end on our roster right now that can dominate an NFL football game when the ball gets in his hands. And it's really hindering us, that's for sure. So those are the positions that I think that we need to focus on in free agency and in the draft for us to have a chance to offensively put up some points. I do think, that I still stand by that. I would have rather seen Case just stay our quarterback this year. We've already paid him the money, play out his contract. But, I also don't know what the big picture is. Are they wanting a quarterback next year in next year's draft? Are they wanting, to try to go after Lawrence in the 2020 draft? Are they thinking, I don't know what the game plan is on why they made the decisions, but I do think that Case is, he's not as good as Joe Flacco, although to me, Joe Flacco is not, he's nothing that's going to come in here and get us turned around playing quarterback. He's at least got some Super Bowl experience. He's won an MVP in the Super Bowl. So those are the things that I like about him. He can definitely throw the ball downfield a lot better than Case, but there's nothing about Flacco that excites me. So the quarterback position in Denver is still unsolved, and until we get that squared away, we're probably going to have a difficult time getting in and competing for the West. So, those are my thoughts on what to do. Quarterbacks that, I liked last year. I liked Allen as number 1, Baker Mayfield number 2, Josh Rosen number 3, and then Sam Darnold number 4. And I wasn't very far off from how they've competed this year. I mean, obviously Baker had a phenomenal year. And, and the thing is that Elway said he liked Baker, but he wasn't available. But, hey, the only way to get him would have been to trade your draft away to go up and move up and get him, and I don't think Cleveland was willing to do that. Plus, that's a big risk for Elway because with his track record and what he's been doing in the first round with quarterbacks, if you trade away a bunch of stuff to move up a few spots to get this guy and he doesn't work out, because there was a little bit of concern with Baker and his ability to perform in the NFL, but it shows that I don't think that Elway's a bad evaluator of quarterbacks. I think that he might be a bad evaluator of quarterbacks that got some heart, because that's a different story. And, I think it shows even with Paxton Lynch. Is Paxton even on a team right now? I think he's a backup quarterback for somebody. Maybe, actually, I don't know who he's a backup quarterback, but I think he's in the league somewhere. So, I don't know what Elway's big grand master plan is at quarterback, but I just find it kind of, ironic that the Seahawks, yeah, thanks, King. I find it ironic that that Elway is not really looking for a quarterback in this draft, because I think that's exactly why Joe Flacco got that 3-year deal. And all we did was assume the contract. And look, we're not paying him big money. We're not paying him, and we're paying him the same rate as what we paid Manning, which was almost forever ago. So the price of quarterbacks has gone up. The salary caps have gone up. And we're still paying in that $18, $19 million range for a QB. But I still think Flacco can play, and I think he's definitely going to help us win some games. But I don't know. I don't know how good we're going to be able to do with him running the show. Running back wise, let's hope Lindsey's healthy. Hope that wrist is okay. I got every inkling to think that it's gonna be. But like I've said last year, the big step is Royce Freeman. He has to make a big step forward. He has to run meaner, has to run tougher, has to run more aggressive, has to hit the hole faster, and he's got to punish people when he hits them. And I think we saw flashes of that last year, but I didn't see enough of it to where I can say, hey, yeah, this is a guy I want to give the ball 25, 30 times to in a game, and then let's get Lindsey out in the flat, maybe on some draws, some screens, some wheel routes. Let's try to get Lindsey 10, 15 touches a game and let him make some plays. But I think our backfield situation is okay, but I do think we'll end up with maybe drafting another back somewhere in this draft, or signing another free agent back, because you definitely got to have 3. I'm not sold on Booker, but I think Booker's good enough to definitely be on a team. Hey, Shane, man, thanks for going live, man. I appreciate you guys showing up in the stream. I can't always do it. I got my hands full with a few different things that I got going on, but you know how I love the Broncos, and I'm always paying attention of what's going on with the franchise moves, offseason, everything. Every second of the day, I'm usually checking to see what's going on. Someday you want to go live and talk to Broncos? Well, hey, man, just do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. To tell you the truth, I never planned on having a YouTube channel to begin with. I'm going to tell that story down the road. Got a good video planned that I'll make for y'all someday. But look, there's nothing wrong. Just turn the camera on and go for it. And you're going to stumble, and your first videos probably ain't going to be that good because it's just uncomfortable, right? It's something that you don't normally do every day. Heck, go back and look at some of my first videos. They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. But look, I just got started, and you learn, and then next thing you know, you get an editing software program, and then you learn a few things, and your videos get a little bit better. And am I good at fantasy football, Matt? You sucker. No, I wasn't good at fantasy football this year, but I was good at last year. Dick. So I think that trying to save some money that you won the casino, huh, Dashy? Or the Undertaker. Hey, more power to you, man. I know you're a big Bengals fan, and look, I would go to a lot more Broncos games if I lived in Denver. I mean, and I know it's only an hour from here, but we only have one highway and the traffic's miserable getting up there. And sometimes in the wintertime, you know, when games are, you got snow to deal with and you got work on Monday. So, I mean, I kind of wish that I lived up there. And if I did, I'd probably go ahead and get some season tickets. What I'm really kind of hoping for is that this AAF football league expands in the next, 5-10 years, and somehow we get a team in Southern Colorado, because that is definitely something that I would buy season tickets for. I think it's great football. And as far as fan experience compared to the NFL, I think the AAF blows the NFL away as far as fan experience. It'd be awesome, Bondi, if they came to Colorado Springs, but we don't have a stadium that they could play in here. What's up, Mohammed? But in Pueblo, they do have a brand new stadium. Now, it's a Division II football school down there, but it's a brand new stadium, and I think that we could maybe play down there, but whatever. I mean, it'd be nice for us to get a team here in Colorado that I could go watch some games, because it's great. It's only 10 weeks. I mean, the season's going to be over here pretty quick. I think it ends the week before the April draft, so that'd be kind of fun if we ended up getting one, but I don't see that league expanding for a few years. How you guys feel about our coaching staff that's been put together? Not only just Fangio, but Scangelo or Scangarello, what the heck that guy's name is. And I just think that our coaching, yes, you're right, Air Force does have a field. They might be able to do something like that. We do have a very Italian coaching staff, which I'm good with it so far. I mean, I like the moves that the Broncos have made this offseason, and I'm just looking for a better viewing experience next year, because watching our team struggle and a lot of it just be mental errors and pre-snap penalties, and just we didn't look organized. We didn't look like a pro team. So hopefully we make a big move there. And I like that Fangio has all the right things to say. He said, look, I'm not going to let the Denver Broncos die a death by inches. And what he means by that is that's important, because the NFL is a game of inches. I mean, we've seen Super Bowls get lost and won on inches. Regular season games get lost and won on inches. And you can't give up an inch in pro football and give these professional athletes extra chances, because they're going to beat you. You can't even do it in college. I mean, I can remember that my college baseball coach used to always harp on us that, when you get a routine ground ball or fly ball or out, we got to make the out, because you can't give college hitters extra outs, extra at bats, because you're going to get beat. And it's even worse in the pros, because these guys take advantage of such opportunities when they come their way. So I like that Fangio has that mentality, because we cannot die a death by inches. We have to pay attention to details. And if you look at why the Patriots have so much success, it's because they pay attention to details. And that's something that hasn't happened here in Denver really since Kubiak was the coach here. So hopefully all of those things are worked out. We need to string together a couple more good drafts to put together with the young class that we got from last year. Definitely got to stay healthy, but I think if we can string together a good draft class this year and we end up with 3 or 4 guys that are impact makers on the field playing, then things are really going to turn around quick for us in a hurry. We're about, almost $30 million under the cap. So we've got a little bit of room to go out and get a linebacker like a Mosley, who's probably going to be in the $11, $12 million a year range. We can probably pick up a few corners in the $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 million a year range. And then, of course, anybody we sign the draft's going to be on a 5-year rookie deal. So it's not going to really kill us. We're $36 million under the cap. That's good. I thought we were a little bit less than that. Yeah, I think we are 33 because of the Case Keenum deal. We had to end up having to assume like $3.5 million of the $7 million that he was going to get this year guaranteed. So I think the Broncos got room to make moves. Let's just hold tight and see how this free agency frenzy plays out. And then let's all hope that we make good decisions in the draft and we get these players to pan out. I want to thank everybody for joining the stream. I'm definitely going to be here doing a live stream for the draft. Definitely on draft day. I'm not going to sit here and do it all day, but I'll maybe, actually, I may not even do a stream. I might just do a video where I clip in, you know, our draft picks and make a video about it so you can see, you know, what I thought live and everything. But I think we just got to hope to put together string together another draft, and we got to get back in this race. And we definitely got to get somebody to help us on the other side, because Antonio Brown's going to be a handful. This is the OG Bronc Nuts, 719 West, Denver Broncos in the draft on tap. I'm out. See you later, suckers.